training. Was that the response you wanted tonight after Friday night?
Yeah, I don't know if I think response is the right word, but I know what you mean, because I do think we played well in that first game, but we didn't pay off the chances, and we spent a lot of time doing reviews and in training and talk about the final pass and finishing. And I do think the players were 100% focused in that final third tonight, especially in the first half. I do think we lacked a little bit of concentration in the end of the first half. We should not let them get that goal and get some hopes in that halftime. And I think that influenced the second half a little bit. But definitely the focus in the final third was good tonight.
If we'd offered you 3 goals in half an hour at the start of the game, how quickly would you have taken that?
I mean, we always want to get up on the front foot and score early goals. And the first 15 minutes in the first game against New Zealand, we were amazing. We could have been 3-0 up those first 15 minutes. And it's same, actually, the first 5 minutes tonight might not have been good, but from the 5th minute onwards to that third goal was phenomenal football. And also what I like is the variation of how we score goals. We're good at transition, we're good at organized, breaking teams down, that park the buses, and then set plays again. We're brutal on set plays now, which is an important piece coming to the tournament as well.
You obviously said those 3 areas you want to focus on, so you kind of addressed the finishing, the, I guess, full 90 minutes of defensive focus, but then also you spoke about speed of play. How was the speed of play tonight?
I think it was a mix, to be honest. I think when we had the speed of play, New Zealand couldn't catch us. The combination play, change of point, was zipping the ball around. But I also think there were parts of it, like I said, I think we lacked concentration for a bit. And then it becomes a bit slower. And New Zealand kind of catch us then and took us on the break a couple of times. So they could have scored actually 1 or 2 more on the break there. So that's also, we need to be humble and always learn from every single moment in the games. But when we play fast, we show that we're really difficult to stop.
Their approach very differently defensively tonight. They weren't necessarily pressing the defensive line straight away in early phases of possession.
Yeah.
And it kind of required different players to give you, let's say, outlets into the opposition half. I guess, despite the early trouble, are you pleased with how flexible you can be in early phases of possession with that kind of player deep in midfield?
Yeah, it's actually interesting you bring it up, because I had an individual talk with Minnie and even in the game playing today, and said they probably have a plan how to take you away, because she was so dominant in that first one, and they've done their homework and they took away that space for her tonight. So we did have a plan on how potentially she can open up for another player and we can still play through that space. But then Minnie is also so skillful on the individual actions that even if she's pressed, she can turn on a dime and get out of that pressure, like that attack here on the right side when she played Mary in and Mary breaks the line. And so even if she wasn't as impactful as the first game, I still think she had a huge impact on the game.
Yeah, I guess she's impacting the game without touching the ball, because I guess it's still asking questions of Kennedy to drive out in certain phases as well. I guess, did that correlate with that, I guess, shift in momentum early in the first half?
I think so, but also if you look at a wide, when they need to close the central channels, it opens up for the wide channels. So one of the reasons Raso sits here is because she's dominating the game on the right side. I mean, her and Ellie's game, and when they had to be that compact to take Minnie away, it opens up. So we need to play with the spaces. And Alana was phenomenal at quarterbacking tonight, and her confidence is she's playing the best football of her life. You know, she's playing through balls and those big diagonals out to the left side, and how she activates the front line. So both her and Minnie's quarterbacking gives us a lot.
Speaking of, let's say, sorry to keep asking about the midfield, but in relation to the second half and the shift, that shift in composition that you made, how do you think it impacted Kerr in, let's say, the positions and preferences in where she likes to receive the ball and how?
I think she could stay a bit higher tonight. She had more runs in behind the back line. We spoke about that before. That's her number one skill set. When we had 3 quick footballers in there with brains and feet that can combine, it means she can stay a bit higher to time her runs in behind. So she had much more runs in behind the back line tonight than the first game.
Elliot, yeah, we got a few questions for Hayley. She's got her mother waiting for her as well. A lovely goal. Can you sort of talk us through it?
I mean, yeah, it's always nice to get on the score sheet. I feel like we played some good football, and like Tony said, we needed to be better in the final third, and it's something I've been working on. And it's important as a striker and as a forward to get goals in the back of the net. So yeah, it gives me a bit of confidence, and I'm really happy with that tonight.
There's some really impressive moments, particularly in that sort of first half when the goals came, with the forwards just combining beautifully at that sort of pace that Tony's talked about. What was it sort of like out there on the pitch? Did you sort of notice that sort of quick combos between the forwards?
Yeah, I think we gel quite well. we're all off at different clubs working hard there, but I feel like whenever we come back to the national team, there's a really good cohesion. And that also goes with whoever's playing. You know, I think whoever's in the forward line on any given day, we can combine well, and it paid off for us tonight.
And sorry, mate. just Sam's goal, that third one. The ball to her was brilliant, and then Sam's finish. Can you sort of, I guess, from your perspective, to see out there, like how hard was that finish? Because you made it look easy as always, but it was quite sublime.
Yeah, Sam makes most of her finishes look easy, I think. No, she's a quality player, and I feel like if she's ever in front of the goal, she's going to put them away. But it's a great ball too, I think, from Emily, was it? Yeah, but she was making those runs in behind all night, and when you feed her like that, she's going to put them away.
Speaking of cohesion, I guess over the past 2 games, have you felt more connected in possession with respect to the distances that you have to carry between with each other? Do you feel, let's say, more, like I said, connected in that respect?
I mean, yeah, like I just said, I think we have a cohesive group, and when we come into this team, we try to continually work on that, and we'll get the pointers from Tony about how we can continue doing that and what we need to do to develop and be better. And I think each game we come into, we make sure that we're gelling and that things are working for us.
It was a pretty special 25-minute period there in the first half. Do you find yourselves in the middle of periods like that when everything is just working? Can you believe how well things are working in times like that?
I think for us, we try not to get ahead of ourselves. We wanted to come into the game and we wanted to score goals, and we got a few goals there within a certain period, but it kind of doesn't stop our fight or what we want to do. We continue playing, we stay calm, we play our football, and that's kind of how we go about the whole game.
Bit of a niche area, but obviously you played Canberra United under Jika. I mean, how was it to see her tonight on the opposite side?
Yeah, it was actually really nice. I just caught her in the corridor just then, and she was just saying, like, basically, like, my career started from her, and I was like, it's actually true. She found me back in 2011 when I was very young, and I mean, I do owe my career a little bit to her, because I wouldn't have one if she hadn't selected me for Canberra United, so it was really nice to see her tonight and to play against them.
Just call for a couple of questions from the computer for Hayley. Otherwise, we'll let Hayley go to be with her family. Doesn't see them often. Ben or Marco, any question for Hayley?
Mine for Tony, actually, if that's okay.
For Tony. Marco, anything for Hayley?
No, same with Tony, yeah.
Hayley, you're free to go.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thanks, Tony.
Okay, Marco Monteverde, question for Tony.
Tony, g'day, mate.
G'day.
So, looking over the 2-game series, in terms of, I guess the next step on the road to the World Cup, how do you sum it up, and in terms of where the team might be now as opposed to after the Asian Cup?
That's a great question. A bit early to summarize both games as of now, but what I feel is, and we internally have seen the progress and the journey for a while now, even though if the result might not have been. And I said that it started with the first game against Brazil, when we started to see bits and pieces of things that we wanted to do. It wasn't perfect, but we saw 50 minutes here and 50 minutes there. That was really good in that game. Also against the US, like I said, the last 30 minutes in that first half in the first game, even though we lose 3-0, those last 30 minutes there was really good against a really good US team. And then we played pretty good in Asian Cup, but I think we lost a little bit of faith and belief in what we're doing in that second half against Korea. Come back into this camp and say we need to keep believing in what we're doing even more and stay loyal to that process. Hayley talked a little bit about it as well. And then we need to have a little bit more of a cohesion and chemistry and continuity in what we're doing. And I think the players have been phenomenal and have been patient with me as a coach, because I've thrown a lot of curveballs at them with rotations in rosters. And I think we've had like 75 players in high performance environment with 14 debuts. And now when we narrow it down a little bit, have more continuity, I do think one of the reasons we see better combination play in this camp is because there's more continuity in what we're doing and we're further ahead in the process. But also the addition of a couple of players with different profiles that also gives us a different dimension in how we're playing. Ben Gilby?
Oh yeah, Tony, just based on the 3 of the things you said you were looking for in the games, in the second half, the intensity seemed to drop off a little bit. I mean, how much of that do you think is due to the fact that, we built up a pretty big lead by that stage and there was a lot of changes on the pitch? Or how much of that do you feel was just a general drop-off at that time?
Well, you're actually onto something. Yeah, I do think it was a drop-off. That's one of the reasons why I actually did the changes, because I wanted some energy in there. I wanted the players to come in and have to prove a point. I want to show the head coach I belong here. I want to play. And I do think we got a little bit of an effect on that in the beginning. And then I do think we had a second wave of drop-off, so to speak, and it was a great opportunity for us to practice game management. You could say that New Zealand kind of took over the game, but it was us letting them have the ball, because we feel also now we need to prepare for a World Cup scenario. That how do you protect the lead or change the shape and be flexible, and we need to train that as well. So I do think that type of drop-off in the end was a tactical game management change from our end as well.
Final question from online, William Makepeace.
Hey Tony, can you just talk to me a little bit about the special moment that we obviously saw out on the pitch at the end of the match?
You reference Ivy?
Yeah, definitely.
Just give me a sec. Apologies, I get emotional here because it's so much more than football, and this team shows that so much every day. And the way they come together with Ivy, and she almost apologized a couple of days ago and said, I don't want this to be a disturbance. And all of us said, there's never going to be a disturbance. This is what we're about. We share our scars and we're in this together, you know. We're big Matilda family, the past players, the present players, the future players, their families. We've had babies in camp now connecting. I've had the privilege both came here to meet the family and friends group up in the stands when the team is warming up and see how much they mean to these players, and then see Ivy doing that for her brother and do it with Stott as well. It's so much more than football.